What's up, guys? Koby here. Just a fair warning, we had planned on putting this episode out next week, but obviously we didn't. So we talk about a few things that may or may not have happened yet, and if that's going to bug you, you need to wait until next week to listen to it. Otherwise, enjoy.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome. This is Out of Pocket with BadBoys. Rick Jones, Koby Pilgrim, and Mike D, the world-famous Mike D, and our special guest, Mike Littman. You're the Northwest Cup guy. It's his whole deal these days. He's been doing a great job with it, putting a lot into it. And we're coming up on a match here, November 19th, I believe. Right, Mike?
2 weeks. Yep, 19th and 20th. We're less than 2 weeks away now. So,
and this is the third cup?
It's fourth.
Fourth cup.
Yeah, there was one in 2018. I honestly don't know that much about the one in 2018. I don't know if there's a stream out there. I believe it was won by Washington. And then in 2019, it was at Sam's Hollywood Billiards, and you can find that on YouTube. And it was a Hill barn burner that went till 1:30 in the morning. It was Hill, and then it was Hill in the match, and then the final set was the rotation where one player plays one game, and then everybody rotates out, and that went Hill, and it was Mike knows he played that year, so he probably remembers it fairly well, I would imagine. Mike,
it was amazing. I had a friend who doesn't get out much who stopped by Sam's just for a minute just to watch a little bit. And he ended up staying until after midnight because it was so exciting. Every game was so exciting. It was. I mean, without trying to hype ourselves, it was amazing.
Yeah, and that was.
Well, you should be hyping yourself. So that's the trophy right next to you, right, Mike B?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's the trophy right there. It's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
I see y'all went with the media.
And that's the banner from the last Northwest Cup there too.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I guess we should start with how that thing started. Yeah, what it is. It would be a good place for anyone who doesn't.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Let me respond to something Mike said about the stream, the 2018 stream. That was on the rail. The two Pacific Northwest ladies, I believe, that did streaming at the time, they streamed it, and Damian Pompatic set that up. It's somewhere.
Okay. Well,
so that was the 2018 event?
What's that?
Was the first one was the 2018 event, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it's 15th Street Billiards.
Yep.
So how do you guys pick which bar gets it, or which pool hall gets it?
So, let me back up a little bit. I'm going to do what Kenny suggested. So, the Northwest Cup was started by Matt McGinnis, and he had this vision to do this exhibition style match. It's a match between Oregon and Washington. Matt's the one who started it and set all the ground rules and had it in 28. He, was the man in 2018, and then I sponsored it, but he was still running it in 2019. And he set it up with these, the rules and the guidelines for how it should be. He wanted a woman on each team. He wanted a Fargo cap so that it wasn't just. It's one thing that's an important distinction to make is that it's not just who's better, Oregon or Washington thing. It's not a true Moscone Cup. Our 5 best players against their 5 best players. It's more of like we really want the top tier players, but we also want to make it fair and competitive, and we want women to be there, and we want to allow an opportunity for the top 15 to 20 players in each state to play, as opposed to just the same 5 over and over and over again. So it's even though it's capped, you're still getting typically 2 of the rosters will have 2 of the absolute top tier players, and then you'll have 2 that are 700-ish. And then you'll have 2 that are like maybe 675, 650-ish, and then the women are usually around 550 to 575, something like that. So, that's really what it is. We want to provide an atmosphere for the players that they can't experience anywhere else, or really, you can't simulate it or anything. I mean, it's just Mike should speak to the pressure. Mike last year got to play Efren Reyes at Derby City.
Right.
He got to play in the Northwest Cup in 2019. Mike, where were you more nervous at? In which match were you more nervous?
Yeah, I played effort on the AccuStats table with Jeremy Jones and Mark Wilson commentating. I was much more nervous every time I played the Northwest Cup. You've got all your friends watching, and the Pacific Northwest is a funny thing. You know, to us, Washington is just across a bridge. We really consider us all Pacific Northwest players. Those are my people in Washington, too. They're watching me, too, you know. I mean, at the moment, they're our opponents. But, you know, those are all your people you've known for 20, 40 years. I'm 52 years old. I've been playing in this town since I was 15. And I've known these guys since I was 15, 16, some of them. The pressure is enormous. It's enormous. Yeah, it's huge.
So it's a great.
And I was scared to death playing effort.
Yeah. And so, you know, it's sort of, we want to provide that for the players. And then we also want to provide for the spectators a really unique experience. I bring in, you know, risers for layers, you know, levels. There's 3 tiers of chairs. People are encouraged to bring cowbells and do that whole Moscone Cup, you know, cowbell thing and go crazy at the right time. And it's just it's a ton of fun. So that's what the event is and what it's all about.
Let me speak to the best player thing. I just, you know, Matt planned it, but he planned it from my house at Day 2 Billiards. He was coming over once a week at the time, and we discussed a lot of it every step. It was also a way to use Fargo. Fargo was not new, but it had taken hold at that point. It was a great way to take advantage of Fargo. I would also say we were really concerned that there were states that might have 7 pros in it, and there were other states with no pros living there, and that wasn't going to be an equitable way to do it. You know, I think Fargo, it's not about fair, it's about competitive and equitable, and that's what Fargo can help make happen. We didn't want a fair event, but we wanted something competitive, and we thought that was a great way to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think it was a genius in the sense that we've got 2 years in a row where the thing's gone hill. You know, we're seeing exciting pool, we're seeing run out pool, but we're also seeing, you know, people miss because of the pressure. You know, I think it's just providing everything that you want. And so I think you guys did a great job of coming up with the formula. I tweaked it a little bit when I took it over. I changed it from a race to 11 to a race to 9, because that 2019 event, I watched it, and I mean, I'm pretty sure it went till like 1:30 in the morning, which to me is, you know, I mean, I know pool players are used to being up late, but knowing that I wanted to bring in, you know, some top tier streaming personalities and people like, I didn't want to make, you know, Allison Fisher stay up until 1:30 in the morning, you know, doing the commentary. So I clipped it down to a race to 9. I made it from, and having done that, I trimmed the total team number from 6 to 5, figuring I wanted every player to have an opportunity. And it kind of worked out perfectly, because if you do the rotation, if you go hill, every player will have played 4 times, twice in singles and twice in Scotch doubles. So it worked out great. So, but yeah.
For me,
which is one of the prerequisites of filling out the score sheet, is that each player has to play the same number of times, which, if people aren't familiar with that, that's also a huge part of this. You know, everybody plays the same number of times, your lowest Fargo and your highest Fargo.
Yeah, we don't want to hide anybody on the roster or any of that, you know, none of that going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them to power horse their best players and leave the other ones down low. So
you get to pick your anchor. You get to pick your, you know, if it's hill, you get to pick who your big gun is. But that's fun. You both get to pick your big gun.
So as long as the Fargos haven't changed much, Team Oregon is 32.83, and Team Washington is 32.95.
Whoa.
That's tight.
Yeah, 3,300 was the cap. So yeah.
So
I gotta say, just a second, I picked the team, and those numbers killed me. I wish I could have squeezed out another 10 points. That's real talk.
Yeah.
So after all this Moscone Cup controversy on who picks who and what, all that crap,
What?
how do you guys pick your teams?
Well, I'll just say real quick that so when Matt handed and let me say one more thing so Matt moved to Arizona, and that's why he handed it off to me, and I ran with it, and so I've been doing it since 2020. Well, wanted to do it in 2020. Obviously we didn't. 2021 and then this year. But Mike and Ed Slade are the captains, and they were the captains when it was handed off to me. They were doing a good job. I saw no reason to replace them, and so they will be captains as long as they want to, or they do something so egregious, which I don't think either of those guys are going to do. So having said that, having said that, I picked the captains. Well, I kind of, but I give the captains the full authority to pick their own teams as long as it's within the guidelines that I set. And one other more important thing that you need to know is that I set a new guideline that said that no player can play 3 years in a row. So that makes sure that, we have the turnover that we want to have. So having said that, Mike, what's your process? How do you go about picking the team?
Well, first, the 3 years in a row starts in 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. So
it doesn't start in 2018. So anyway, that gives us some leeway, by the way, just in the 3 years in a row.
Don't do the math on them. Don't do the math.
To me, so for me, picking teams, I think everybody probably does it different. For me, picking teams, I pick my woman first because I need to know what her Fargo is. We've got a female in the state right now, Molina, who's 6'20", 6'30", and then we got other females that could be on the team that, quite frankly, are not that high. The female dictates a lot. My next is my highest ranked player. I want my number one player. You got to understand, too, I need people to say yes. So, and once they say yes, they're committed. But I got to be really careful how I pick the team, or I could paint myself into a corner at the end. So in trying not to do that, I pick the female first, and then I pick the best player in the state that I think wants to be on the team that I want playing on the team, which generally is Steve Lingelbach. I like him. He's a solid guy, and he does great under pressure. He's an amazing player. And then from there, I fill out the rest of the team. My last pick is usually the mid player, the guy that's going to play around 670. So I'm picking this time Lingelbach and then Byers. That's how I went this time. Byers, this is part of where I made the prediction about Earl. I had promised Byers last year. He was my first pick for this year because I felt bad he wasn't on the team last year. And that's what I felt like Jeremy Jones probably had to have a conversation with Earl when the COVID thing just came up to say, hey, fair is fair, buddy. You're on the team next year. It's all good. But, that's part of what influenced my feeling about that Earl would be on the team. So anyway, that's my answer to that, I guess.
And you had a qualifier for the final spot.
Yes, thank you, Mike. This year, I stole Ed Slade's idea. Ed Slade, the coach of Washington, figured out how to have a qualifier. He did it in a Fargo range of about 100, I believe, and the winner got to be on the team. My only thing I did different was I didn't do it any added money, and I only did it $20 to get in. I wanted to make sure that whoever won it really wanted to be on the team and wasn't there to win $1,200 on a weekend kind of a thing. And then looked at me like I was crazy when I said, see you the 19th for the Northwest Cup. So, and Mike Jensen won that, which was I hate to say lucky for me, but I'm real happy with Mike Jensen as the pick. And that allowed me to pick Paul Marquez, who's been on the Northwest team, I think, 2 times previously. So he's got experience in this very stressful environment. I'm happy with the team.
Yeah, cool. We'll get Ed on in a little while and hear everything that he's got to say. But yeah, I like the way you guys got this all set up. I watched it last year and it was tense. I mean, I bet $50 that you guys were going to make a comeback when you were down 5-0.
Wow.
So thanks for that.
I hope you got some odds on that. Who did you make that bet with?
Just a guy I know. I got 3-1 on it.
Well, hell yeah, there's $150 right there, man. Spoiler alert to anybody who doesn't know. Last year, Washington came out guns blazing, went up 5-0, and then we broke for the day and came back the next day, and it was like somebody, I don't know what the hell. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about what you told your team at the end of that session, that they came back and won it 9-5 after all that?
I know the answer to this.
After all that?
Was it, have you seen the nature documentaries on the cable?
Mike, I'd love to lie to you, but the truth is, I didn't say anything inspiring. You know, every one of those players knows that it ain't over. You know, it was 9-ball. It was only five points. You're talking about Glenn Atwell, Matt Horner, Stephanie. Oh God, who else was on the team? Help me.
Steve Lingelbach.
Steve Lingelbach, yeah.
And Cliff Maxson, who played great in 19.
Right. People, all those guys are players. They know they're in it till the end. We just bared down and did it. You know, the second day, the only thing I did differently is I got a lot louder sitting on the sidelines and really tried to pump them up and make a big deal out of things, which this year I'll start doing sooner on Amazon and cowbells as we speak. Yeah, we're gonna make this room sing. It's gonna be loud, man. I hope people are getting tickets to come. I know last year we filled up. I'm sure we'll fill up this year. It's exciting and it's fun and it's raucous. If you watch the Moscone, that's what it is. It's a good time, man. It really is. This place has booze. It's gonna be a good time.
I'm seriously disappointed you didn't have a better story though, like a Newt Rockney kind of thing or something. Right. You got look. You could have just made it up, right? I mean, nobody would know.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna school you out. You could be like, yeah, dude, I had this whole speech.
Just like,
I know. Part of being me, I'm pretty flatly blunt, Rick, and that's what happened, man. I don't make stuff up. That's what it was. This way, when I tell you a wild story, you'll know it's true.
That's why nobody listens to me, because I had your back.
It was one of those. Yeah,
thanks,
and it was one of those things where, you know, it was 5-0, but the races were close. And honestly,
yes.
I remember correctly, I think the last match was Stephanie and Clay, and Stephanie took him to the hill. And I think that was like a message. It was just like, we're here, we're not going anywhere. We're gonna fight for every point, for every game, for every ball. And
those are great points, Mike. Yeah. Yes. That's a great point. Is every one of those sets we lost the first day was close.
Yeah. So you guys knew you weren't.
I'll be totally honest. I enjoyed watching that more than the Moscone Cup last year. Just saying.
Oh, well, who the hell enjoyed watching the Moscone Cup last year?
but you know,
Europe.
For me,
Europe.
It's great to see the non-pro players get that excited about it, right? I mean, I wish every state would find a border and do this.
Right. Yeah, well, I think there's one, if I'm not mistaken, between Michigan and Ohio. Isn't there one that they're right there? Yeah.
Yeah, in Arizona and Vegas. But that
okay.
It is. I mean, if there's
and we played.
I
just want to have it out there too on this episode to make sure it's known. After we lost in 2018 to Team Washington at 15th Street, we then went to Las Vegas and played at Griff's against Team Vegas Venom, which had Ozzie Reynolds on it. And, who's the pro that plays really fast that was playing out of Vegas for a long time? Huh? Mitch Ellerman, exactly. And a few other people out of there that played really good. Anyway, we won that too. I made the winning shot to win that. That was amazing. And yeah, that was a lot of fun too. That was a Creasa from Bingelbach and Steve Lingelbach and myself and Chris Byers and Cole Gibbons and Darren Walding.
Good. I like it.
Yeah.
So you've had it 3 years. What's the score right now? 2-1 who?
Oregon. Oregon's won the last two. Washington won the first one.
Right on.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's you know, and it should be another. Let's go down the rosters real quick. Oregon is Chris Byers at 717, Steve Lingelbach at 695, Paul Marquez at 675, Michael Jensen at 641, and Chris Robbins at 557. And then Washington, you know, James DeVee at 715. And then you have Daniel Sartencilio is 692. But I think if you ask anybody who knows anything about pool in this area, he's playing above that.
Yeah,
Randy Antigui is 650, but I've heard that he's the best one pocket player in the area, is what I've heard anyway. Joe Tamura at 653. He was the open qualifier for Ed Slade, and he played really well in that open qualifier. I watched that. And then Phyllis Fernandez is a 588. So as a woman, at 588, she's going to be real competitive against everybody. So
there's a whole lot of guys.
Hey, I gotta say, Randy Kamatiki, that guy gambles for real, and he's got ice water in his veins. That guy is real, man, and he's a 9-foot player too. So throw Fargo out the window, man. That guy plays strong. Daniel, I've been saying for years with Fargo, it's not Fargo's job to predict. It's its job to catch up with you. Fargo is catching up with Daniel. It's a fact that's what Fargo does, and it's a fact that's what it's doing with Daniel right now. It's definitely lower than it could be.
Yeah. No, he's definitely, his skill level's going up. But here's an
I'll be right
interesting
back
thing.
in a second.
Okay.
Just a little perspective here. Fargo put out some numbers yesterday. The average league player in the country is 502. So if you're at 600, you're twice as good as the 500.
Right.
If you look at those numbers, these are some strong teams playing. Really
Definitely.
strong.
Oh yeah. There's a couple. Daniel. Don't be surprised if he's in the Mosconi Cup conversation in 2 or 3 years if he keeps improving the way you know what I mean. Everybody's got that ceiling, but you just never know when you're. What is he? 21? I don't know.
No, he's a pup. Yeah, he's a puppy.
Yeah. So he. For all we know, he's going to be 750 in 2 or 3 years. So these are legit players.
He's also turned into one of those really tall, long men. He's just a tall dude, and that's helping a lot too. And not super common amongst Filipinos, but he's a tall dude. He's 6 foot something, and man, he's running racks.
Well, and he's a good kid too, man.
He's got one of those the modern stroke too, just textbook.
Yep.
Long. Him and Chris,
Yes. And a great guy. Been a great kid. Now he's a great man. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna be sad to beat him. I'll give him a big hug afterwards, man.
Yeah. And also, for anybody who doesn't know, depending on when you
we're gonna put this show will go out probably. What do you say?
Couple days.
Monday or Tuesday before the event.
Okay. Well, it might have happened by the time you do it, but so okay. Let's assume that it's going to be Tuesday before the event. Boy, how about that, Daniel Sardencilio? Oh Jesus! Can you edit this out?
Yeah.
Who's he playing, Mike?
Daniel's playing.
Cole Gibbons. Cole Gibbons.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're playing at Ox on Monday. So, how about that match? That was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Listen, here's all I'm hearing. Here's all I'm hearing you say. Cole Gibbons is spending some time in Washington, rubbing shoulders with some Washingtonians. I hope he makes real strong connections with them so someday he could be on the Washington team. Because I'm sorry, the kid lives in Washington. He should be on their team. I'd love to have him on my team. I grew up, he grew up playing with me. He's around here. I get that we kind of see him as an Oregon player. His address is Washington. I hope he ends up on the Washington team.
Yep, I agree.
So with that said, what is the rule? You just have to live there. You don't have to have lived there for so long. Haven't had to be there for a year.
Well, I mean, if Jeremy Jones comes out here to stream the thing and decides to move out the next week,
right?
I think we'll probably disqualify him from playing for a year. I mean, there's no rule against it. It just says you have to be a permanent resident of the state that you're representing. Is the rule.
Right on.
And the test that I developed, it took me. We really struggled with this for a long time, mainly because of Cole. We struggled with this for a long time, but the test is taxes. Where when you fill out your tax forms, what state, where's your address?
Yeah.
And
and for most people, isn't that just slightly over 6 months? Right? I mean, so in Alaska.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like if somebody lives in 2 places or something like that?
Right. So for us, when we lived in Alaska to get a paycheck from the state, it had to be 6 months and a week, I think.
Yeah, well, you ain't getting on the team, buddy.
Hey. I ain't got no game anymore, dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, Oh God, I'm having
And
trouble with names tonight.
you look horrible in a dress. So there's no spot for you.
Hey, I
Who
want
just
to
moved to Hawaii?
Oh, Bob Zach.
Bob Zach just moved to Hawaii, so he's out. So
Right. I would have to say too, to take some of the weight off of Mike's shoulders on this. Cole is a good example. We talk about it too. You know, Ed's a great friend of mine. He's a good friend of Mike's. We're on group messenger. We talk about it. You know, I don't want anybody on the team that's gonna be, you know, that's gonna leave weird feelings. You know what I mean? No matter who it is. Ed's the same way, where he doesn't want to ban anybody being on the team, but it needs to be upfront, and you know, and yeah. So, and Rick, you had a lot of good questions, and you're right. It can be a little tricky sometimes, and that's why I would really point out too. We talk about it. We always make sure we're talking about it. You know, what do you guys think? Ultimately, it's Mike Littman's decision, but you know, he's always open to what the other captains especially think.
Well, you guys have a very unique pool community, right? For the Pacific Northwest, basically Idaho, Washington, and Oregon.
Yes.
You know, you guys are way more friendly as 3 states than any other 3 states combined, I would say.
You think so?
Just from my experience of going around the country.
I've noticed that. I agree.
Ohio and Michigan, they hate each other's guts.
Right.
So they're not going to have those friendly conversations that you guys are having, because they have that giant college football bash back and forth.
Right.
You know, so
well, it helps. It helps that the Huskies suck so bad. You know, so so you know, there's not much of an Oregon-Washington rivalry with college football. And then we don't have a football team, and they don't have an NBA team. So you know, well, there's a big rivalry in MLS, but you know, you're right. For the most part, it's pretty friendly.
I would agree with what Mike said is a big
Major
part of
League
it. The
Soccer.
sports teams
It's you know the most popular sport in the world.
Soccer? You guys got soccer in the Pacific Northwest?
Hey man, MLS Cup champions in 2015. Yes, we do.
Your story.
Their team won it a couple times too. So. So yeah.
So
Mike, talk about who's commentating. Who'd you have last time? Who'd you get last time?
So Ra Hanna is the guy with the equipment and bring the stream, and then of course the what I would call a play-by-play guy. And then for the color commentary last year, I had a gal by the name of Allison Fisher come in.
She plays okay.
Yeah, I heard I heard she knew a thing or two. Honestly, I heard her commentate one of the matches at the Moscone Cup. Must have been in 2019 or whatever. And I just was like, wow, man, she is really good at commentator. And I met her. I took a clinic from her, like probably 2018, I think. No, it was, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So, and she's just phenomenal. I just obviously worshiped her from a pool perspective. You know, I was in college during that heyday of the women's pool when she was just on ESPN constantly winning. And, you know, just really her just game and her stroke and everything was just phenomenal. And so, you know, I just obviously knew of her, but getting to meet her, it's amazing to me that we get to meet and rub elbows and frickin' play. Mike D got to play Efren Reyes in a tournament on I mean, it's insane. I come from the golf world, and I mean, you have zero access to PGA Tour, you know, that level of player. All you can do is read about them and watch them on TV. So this is so cool to be able to rub elbows with these people. And having said that, I got Jeremy Jones lined up to come in, and so he's going to come in and do some lessons, and there's still a couple available if anybody wants to sign up for lessons. And then 2-hour lessons. I can't imagine you can really do much better than a 2-hour lesson with Jeremy Jones as far as if you want to improve your game, especially for the price it is. You can't buy a cue anymore for the price you're going to pay, for a 2-hour lesson with Jeremy Jones. So, and then his commentary, of course, is just, he's the guy. If you look at any Facebook poll of who's the best commentator out there, 8 out of 10 people say Jeremy Jones for sure, or it'll be Jeremy Jones and one other guy, and they'll, or other person, and it'll be, a mix of other people that, Allison and Bra and, other people that do a great job. But Yeah.
And you're going to film it too. You're filming it too, right? And providing a
the
copy
lessons,
of
yes, I'm planning on filming the lessons. So, you'll get a copy. If somebody takes a lesson, they'll be able to get a copy, and then they'll be able to go over it afterwards. And
that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's great for all those short-term memory people.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like, I don't remember everything I learned from Allison. I took another clinic from her last year, and I've forgotten probably.
Well, how many people will be starstruck, right? I mean, it's
I am.
I'll tell you a story about Allison Fisher real quick. I was refereeing the IPT, and I got called over to her table. They had lagged, and it was really close. And back then, I wasn't wearing glasses. So I walked up to the table, and I looked, and then I started patting my shirt. I'm like, oh, man, I forgot my glasses. And in her accent, she leans forward into my ear, and she goes, you better be kidding. But she was pretty cool about it. It was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Good lady. Really great lady.
Allison Fisher was, I got to say, I was so impressed with her. She was cold. The venue was not cold. I'm just saying, she was cold. She wore a coat a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's a long day. It's 2 long days in a row. She did not. She was in that booth with Raw the whole time, both days. I was super impressed with her work ethic. She was on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's tough to do those many hours in a day. We commentate. Almost all of us up here have commentated pool. It's long days are tough, man. You run out of stuff to say, and to stay entertaining.
Right.
And she's good at it. She's very good at it.
She's very good.
Seriously. Yep. Yeah,
well,
you can get pretty bleary after doing it for too long. Well, I'm so excited about Jeremy Jones. He commentated my match with Efren. I'm really excited to get a lesson with him. I'm really excited that I got to do that, and to have a tape of it too that'll just be really cool. And one of my sponsors, Rick Jones, is hooking me up with a DVD of me playing Efren. I'm gonna have a DVD of Jeremy Jones twice.
So cool. Now that we've talked about the commentators, the venue.
Yeah, let's talk about the venue.
So you guys are going in and you're basically taking over a venue for the weekend.
Well, yes and no. It's so it's at Legends Billiards, which is in Beaverton, and it's a big room. They've got 24 bar boxes and 8 9-footers, not all diamonds. But they have this back room that's a event space. They do dances and like karaoke stuff, and so the cup itself is going to be taking place in the event space. So so we're really not. I'm taking over a couple of the 9-footers for the lessons for a couple of days, but they're all about it. And rest in peace, Michael Bean. When he first opened it, I talked to him and he showed me the event space, and I was like, I really want to have the Northwest Cup here. And he was like, hell yeah, man, let's do it. I wish he was around to see it. Yeah, it's going to be, it's perfect. I mean, it's just perfect. There's a bar back there, like Mike said. Ox was a little awkward in the sense that they didn't really have a full liquor license. And Mike is, by the way, huge shout out to Ox for the job they did last year. Mike and Jamie and Christian are just awesome people, and they're going to be coming down to watch this year. And it was great that I had another venue picked, but it ended up being a weird thing. And then they just at the last minute, I asked him and he said, yeah, let's do it. And it just worked out great. So, but this year, yeah, Legends, it's a perfect space. I think we can get, if we can get enough people to come, I think we can get like 100 people in that room. I would love to have that number. I don't think we're going to hit that number, but maybe people will prove me wrong. So we'll see. Everybody out there, you got to come. I'm telling you, man, it's phenomenal.
Well, maybe they will after they see this.
I got to answer this question too, because Mike should get so much props. He's done so much with the cup since he took over. It's just a whole different animal. Rick, it is hard to find a venue. It's goddamn hard to find a venue. It is very difficult. And then we've had venues that had to move their pool tables, rearrange everything. It's very hard to find a venue. And Mike had a location back out pretty last minute last time, and he very gracefully worked it out, made arrangements with Ox Billiards, didn't talk any smack to the venue that pulled out and still hasn't. And the cup was better than ever before at Ox Billiards, and they were super nice. So yeah, I just want to give Mike some credit on that one. It is hard.
Well, I mean, let's not bullshit anybody. I'm not going to ask you how much you spend, but I'll guarantee you're losing money doing this. And I know you do this for the love of the game. But you know, are you even getting half your money back? Right? I mean, I want people to understand that something like that. Look, I do tournaments, so I know it's expensive. Even if you're doing something on one table, you're talking about bringing in bleachers, promotion, the tickets, the prize fund. What's the prize fund in this event? Is it just the trophy? Is it?
No, the winning team gets prizes. Yeah, you're right. There's a prize fund for the winning team. I reimburse players who have to travel because I don't want any player to turn down an opportunity to do it because they can't afford it. And so I reimburse players who have to travel.
Which could be $300 to $500 per person, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
It's Rick. That's 2 hotel rooms out of town, and people watching. That's what he's talking about now.
Yeah. No, and Jeremy Jones ain't cheap. Allison Fisher ain't cheap. You know, I mean, I just want people to know, and I don't want to, get into your financials, but I want people to understand how expensive this kind of stuff is.
Yeah, well, so I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Better, and maybe more motivated to buy a seat and watch live there. BadBoys bought a ticket for the first day and a ticket for the second day. We're going to give those away. And it'd be Oregon side because I'm biased. But, I mean, we want to help promote the event so that people understand. So maybe this thing can blow up into something really big, right? I would love to see this all over the country, really.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the support. I appreciate it.
The one thing doing this for a living that I miss now is the team play, right? I don't play league anymore because we're always on the road. I miss the team play. So I like watching these kind of competitions. I think they're an absolute blast.
Oh, they're great to watch. There's no doubt. So yeah, I appreciate those comments, Rick. You're right. This is not a moneymaker for me, and I hope people keep that in mind when they see that I'm selling tickets and it's not just free admission. I'm just trying to offset some of the costs associated with it, and I think it's great value for money. So it's it's $25 for general admission, where you are guaranteed to have one of those sideline bleacher seats. There's also a section at this venue where by the bar, there's going to be a couple pub tables and chairs and stuff that people can sit at. It's $15 if you want to get in and roll the dice on whether you'll have a nice view of the table and all that.
Wow, that's cheap. That's definitely worth the money.
So yeah, I think so. I appreciate that, Koby.
Just the party feel of it. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean it's it's
cover charge.
It's going to be a minimum. It's whoever gets to 5 the first day, then we stop. So it could be 3 to 4 hours, or it could be 7 hours or 8 hours the first day, and then the second day is
really quick. Apparently Team Oregon's a slow starter.
Yeah. So,
thanks, Rick Jones.
They had to kickstart the motorcycle or something.
I would just want to say too, as far as buying tickets, you could also watch an hour and a half of the Cup, go play pool at Legends just on the other side of the door, and then go watch another 2 hours of the Cup. I mean,
very true.
This venue is going to really afford people to be able to. You can go gamble with somebody for 2 hours if you want, and then come back and watch the Cup. It's
go out to the food truck and get some food, bring it back in and eat it, drink, have a beer. Get some, get some hooting and hollering.
They got 27 tables, I think, a bunch of 9 foot, 7 foots. Yeah.
Right. So everybody in Oregon and Washington that cannot afford to go to the Moscone Cup, this is the next best thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I watched that. Dude, I enjoyed the hell out of it last year. We were at a tournament. I'm watching on my phone. I'm like screaming at my phone on day 2. Day 1, I was depressed, but day 2, man, I'm screaming on my phone. And then when it got to 5, whatever, when it tied up, what was it, 7-7? Was the first time?
I need to watch it back again, but yeah,
Yeah, I was.
Oregon came back pretty. I want to say it was 5-0 first day, and then I want to say it was like 3-5, and then Washington won a couple, and then I think Washington got to the hill first. But man, it was.
So I got Ed.
My dad watched both days in his office on his home computer because that's where he knows how to watch it from. So when it was done, he was like, "Oh my God, I've been sitting in the computer chair for 2 days now, staring at this damn thing in his office." Yeah, he was, he was worn out. My stepmom, same thing. She's in there watching it with him. Yeah, yeah, man.
So, cool. Mike, you played in it, and now you're I guess you've been the coach all along. But playing in it and coaching it, which is worse?
Oh, God. The pressure of playing in it, Rick, is awful, and that's an awful feeling. I don't know if you've ever thought to yourself in an event, what in the hell am I doing here? How did I really fly across the country to do this? Is this actually my idea of a good time? And then you get into the tournament a little bit, and you don't have those doubts anymore. But, yeah, I don't have any of those feelings as the coach. Get them, guys. I hope for the best. When you say, what did I say to the team? I got Glenn Atwell on my team, man. I don't say nothing. I ask him if he wants some water. All these guys on this team, they do their thing, man. And I just stay there and they do their thing. It is what it is. I got the easy job.
You tell them shoot the lowest ball first.
Right. Yeah. Stay down, Glenn.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Matt Horner tips. Matt Horner and I both know he's better than me. Matt Horner broke and ran 8 racks on me with a magic rack on a 9-foot for $200 in a race to 8. I didn't shoot. I just racked for him literally the whole set. It was winter break. I'm not telling Matt nothing except get him, Matt.
Do you think any of the inspirational coach speeches we've ever heard, that those coaches were better than any of those players? Come on, man, you can do that. Prep up. Be a real coach, damn it. Come on.
And I do also want to mention
this time.
I do also want to mention that last year's MVP was the woman player for Oregon, Stephanie Drakulik, and she earned it. It wasn't just, I believe she was 3-1. Her record, I'm pretty sure, was 3-1. 3-1.
I love watching her play, dude.
She's phenomenal. I want to ask I'm gonna put Mike in a hot seat now.
Yes, sir.
Picking Chris as the woman this year, what was the thought process there as opposed to maybe bringing Stephanie back?
Okay, so my real answer, and I don't know if it's a good answer or not, but it's my real answer. There's one spot for a woman on the team. I want to make sure to spread the love on that. That's the same reason why I'm not playing anymore and why I'm so happy being a coach. I did it. I've been in the spotlight. I'm stepping back for a little bit. I feel especially strongly about the woman who's picked. I think it would be a crime, a travesty to pick the same woman, because then you're not picking other women. There's a woman right now, Molina, who plays amazing out of this state. Liz Cole has definitely not seen her last Northwest Cup.
Right.
I like Carissa as a player, just as a player. She plays good 9-foot pool. And Chris Robbins is an Oregon player that has been playing for a long time. Also, part of the answer is Fargo. I can make it work, man. Chris Robbins allowed me to get Chris Byers and Steve Lingelbach on the same team. That's, you know what I mean? That's, again, that goes back to my first pick as the woman. That I got that out of the way, and now I know what I got to work with. Out of the way is a bad way to say that, but you know what I mean. It's great
that you got a lot of women to choose from.
Yeah,
right.
And all the ones that you named, I really like all of them. Chris Robbins is a great person, and she plays good. Dude. Was she 5'72" or something?
5'57" according to this, but yeah.
So I mean,
Sorry to put you on the spot, Mike, but that's a great answer, and I think it's an honest answer. And I do actually, I've thought about this a number of times. The one sort of big regrets I have about the format is that it does make it so that if you're a woman, you're only going to play maybe once every 4 years. So,
well, now having said that, I have thoughts about next year. I have a way, because it's just a requirement to have one woman. It's anything else is up to you. I have a way to have 2 women next year that has definitely crossed my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, with Melina, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't take a.
We got some ideas.
Well, she's
What's that?
6:30 or something. So
after you guys do this Northwest Cup, we'll sit down and talk with Mr. Littman here. We got some ideas for the future.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, you're right, Mike. It's it doesn't say you can only have one woman. It just says you have to have at least one. So I like your thinking.
I'd be way proud to be the first coach to put 2 women on the team. It's all about Fargo, and I'd definitely be willing to do that. And as we talked last episode about the glass ceiling for women in pool, I truly believe that. And as we see people like Melina here in the Pacific Northwest, it's 630. Pretty soon we'll see a female at 670 and at 700 and above.
Yeah.
And as that goes and goes, there's no reason it couldn't be 3 or 4 women on the team.
Yeah, for sure. And to what we talked about already with the requirements of who's on the team or how long somebody has to live or etc. Melina, I don't think maybe she's lived here for a year now, but I do think it was, give a player a chance to be here for a little while and be established in the community and everything, which I think she is. She plays in every, and why wouldn't she when she's that good? But she plays in every, PNW, women's, what is it, PNWPA, tournament. And I mean, she's out there playing. She's out there playing and patronizing the, the pool halls and, playing in leagues and all that stuff. So, she's not just like a pro who's living here and just, could play.
Yeah, she's definitely become part of the Pacific Northwest pool community in this last year. So I agree that it was too early previously and too early now, really, to have her on the team. Yeah.
Yeah. But cool.
Well, we haven't really talked
I want to know
about
about Jeremy Jones, Mike. How did you contact Jeremy Jones? Did you just cold call Jeremy Jones, or what did you do?
I actually reached out to excuse me. I reached out to Chris Reinhold because Chris and I sponsored Chris this year. We worked out a sponsorship deal this year. So I asked him to make an introduction. So yeah, that's what I did.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that came about because there was a conflict with Allison. Unfortunately, one of the tournaments that she was planning on playing in got moved, so she wasn't available. So, but I made some lemonade out of the lemons.
All right, last question about that. Did you have to convince him? Did he know what it was? How was this a long process, or is he like, yeah, I'm free that weekend, fly me in, I'm there?
It was a bit of a process, and it was pretty late too. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't give him as much notice as I would have liked, but he did not know what it was. But he's obviously going to know.
Did you know who Mike D was?
Did you tell him I don't know if your name came up in conversation, Mike.
He doesn't even know who I am.
But
and I climbed up his butt at Derby over.
I've seen him yell at Bonnie before.
Well, Mike, he's definitely going to know who you are if he doesn't already, and I'm sure he does. He'll remember you from commentating. But it took the thing, and actually I guess he'd already been talking to Ox. They had already been talking to him about bringing him out to do some lessons and some exhibitions and stuff. So he, it worked out great. He's going to be up there for 5 or 6 days giving lessons and doing the commentary on that match we talked about. And then he's going to drive down here and he's going to give lessons for a couple of days and then so he's turning it into a whole 10-day, road trip extravaganza. So, and I just think it's so cool that he's going to be here 10 days before the Moscone Cup. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's great timing. That was a credit to Matt. That was one of the reasons he wanted the cup to be at a certain time of year, as he wanted to get some of the Moscone Cup hype from it.
For sure, yeah.
So we really
like an
haven't
appetizer.
we really haven't talked about you, Mike. I mean, how did you get in the industry? I mean, I see your logos on all kinds of stuff. You're backing many people or many tournaments. Tell us more about you.
Yeah, well, you know, I always jokingly tell people when I also own a retail billiard shop. That's where I am right now. Well, it's kind of, my place is kind of both. You know, now I got this area for making lights and stuff, but I always jokingly tell people when they ask me, you know, well, how'd you get into the billiard business? And I tell them through a long series of bad decisions and miscalculations. But
Sure.
yeah, the light thing was just really an opportunity of a new technology came out, and I saw you know, a way to use that technology specifically for the pool application. And you know, I started making lights out of wood. Hello. Oh. who is this new guest that we have just been?
Apollo.
Apollo? It's not
Yeah,
Artemis?
He's got that little goatee on his chin. It looks like Apollo, the speed skater. That's how
Apollo. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, he burns
That was a
out.
very Voshian moment of you there.
Yeah. Dude,
Rick.
he just walked right
All right,
up
Mike, you were building lights out of wood. For God's sakes, you're
building
building lights out of wood.
And yeah, anyway, I started building them out of wood, and then in fact, two guys on this streamer are very integral in the way this whole thing evolved. First, Mike D approached me and said, hey, you know, can you give us a light to use out at the coast to go over the streaming table? And so I did that, and it was just a phenomenal experience because of how the stream table was right there, and it was this beautiful, well lit blue color, and then you had 7 tables behind it in the shot of the stream that all looked like they were this dirty green, and you know, like half as bright as the front table because it was my, you know, I mean, it was just, it couldn't have been any better advertising for my product, you know. And then Rick approached me and said, hey Mike, we love the light, it works great, but it's heavy as hell, you know, and you know, I'd love to be able to use them, you know, for the whole room and to haul them around the country, but they're too heavy, so come up with another design. And so then I started working on the aluminum.
Right on.
And it just snowballed from there. Really, I mean, honestly, and I made my last wood light a few months ago, and that's it, you know. So
well, having
aluminum now,
having had to lift hundreds of those by myself, thank you for making them lighter.
You're welcome. Yeah, no problem, Koby. Yeah, it's they're not as they're still a little heavier than we would have liked, but and I did that gig, you know, the first time we had all 80 at Chinook Winds. I did come down and help hang them, so I definitely, my shoulders feel the pain of your shoulders for sure.
They're really nice, classic, clean, good looking lights. I mean,
yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they work great. And
hey, you got to speak into the microphone if you want to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, Rick, what'd you do? Turn on your mic, buddy.
What did you touch?
I don't know, dude. Hold on.
We're gonna have to have
Welcome to episode 2 of the Bad Boys Out of Pocket podcast.
Yeah. Joining us in the conversation is Rick Jones.
You guys have any? I know Rick does have some streamers that you watch on YouTube that you go back and you look at videos from like when they first started, and you just kind of laugh and go, "Oh, I remember those days." We know. This is going to be one of those that you guys.
This is going to be one of those times, Mike. That's for sure.
I definitely look forward to.
Wow, look at how remedial this was.
I think you and Rick. What's that?
Is it working now?
Yeah,
that's better.
I'm gonna blame it on the cat.
Yeah, no more cat.
What's on with it? The cat jumped down and unplugged it or something.
I guess so.
What I was saying before my microphone was rudely turned off by the cat was Bad Boys very proud to have Littman lights over the table. I love those things. They're awesome. So
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys formed a perfect partnership. I really believe that. You guys really, I'm so glad that you guys worked it out and were able to make that happen.
Yeah, well, I think it's great for the community. The pool community in the area has really responded. If you go to any, well, not any, but a lot of venues around here in this area have them because people went to the coast, they saw them, they saw how great they work, they talked to their room owners and said, hey, you guys, might want to look into this because the lights you have suck. And, we didn't really even realize they sucked until we played on, under these much better ones. And so, yeah.
If Bad Boys is going to use them, you got to use them.
Well, and the cool thing is, as light as they are, we hang them from grid ceilings all the time. So, there's a lot of lights you can't do that with. I'm probably saying most lights you can't do that.
The 5x2s for bar boxes are 25 pounds, which is 12 and a half pounds per thing. I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah. And after 14 hours, they feel like 76, 77
Oh my God.
pounds.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Talk to your union rep.
It's perfect. Contract labor, real world problems.
I want to say one of the things about that when people were watching Littman lights on the stream that first time, every day there were multiple comments from people saying, how come the stream table has new cloth? How come the stream table has a different color cloth on it?
Right.
And they got so tired of answering that question. It makes your cloth look more brand new. It really does. It brings out all the color in it. It just looks way better. Plus, as I've gotten older, I really appreciate that everything's lit up. There's no shadows.
Oh yeah, I had Brad Gowan told me that he came out of the woodwork and played down at the coast, and won the platinum division, I think it was, and told me I could see the balls. I mean.
Hey, hold on. So this is funny, but Bad Boys forced the issue for Western BCA to even get lights originally. Imagine in that room, and the lighting wasn't as good as it is now. But imagine in that, I couldn't take it, dude. Like halfway through the tournament, I started getting headaches and stuff. You guys played with no lights before Bad Boys came along.
Well, it's a lot of effort to get to you have to hang the bars and all that stuff, and yeah, it's a lot of effort to get the lights hung. So I really appreciate that you guys do that. And
that place was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Was blue too back in the day. The whole room had just a weird.
So I don't want to get too far off the Northwest Cup, and we got Ed Slade, the other team captain, sitting and waiting. Unfortunately, we don't have enough internet to have everybody on at the same time. I think it'd get too glitchy. So we do appreciate you getting on, Mike.
Yeah, see who's gonna go. We're gonna rock some paper scissors. See who goes.
Yeah, you three have at it because I have to be here. No, I think it'd be kind of cool to get both the coaches in here and let them get some banter going.
I can sign out and let Ed be on while Mike's still on.
There's an idea.
You can do that if you want, and then stick around.
Well, we can do whatever you want.
Whatever works for you guys. I mean, I want to
have Mike stay on and I'll sign off. I think we got 10 more minutes before it's an hour anyway. Get Ed on here with Mike.